Earlier this week, I put iOS 17 into my Things I Hated from WWDC category, and I stand by that. But after having had the week to really play around with the beta, I realized that there is more to this upcoming release than Apple showed in their keynote. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the 20 iOS 17 features that I've been most impressed by so far. This hopefully goes without saying, but just in case, I'm using the developer beta here. These are all features that you'll be able to use when you update to the official release, most likely in September of this year. Please don't message telling me that you can't find these features on your phone. This is just a preview of what's coming in a few short months. Okay, let's get into it. A feature that people have been wanting for a long time now is the ability to download maps in the Maps app. Well, in iOS 17, you'll be able to, and it's really easy. It is a bit glitchy in this early iOS 17 beta, but it does work, and will hopefully be working without bugs by the time iOS 17 launches later on in the year. In iOS 17, when you FaceTime call someone, if that person isn't available to take the call, they can reject it as normal. But you, as the person who initiated the call, will be given the opportunity to leave them a video message. Your phone will give you a countdown, at which point you record the message, and if you're happy with it, you fire it across. That person gets a prompt letting them know that they've received a video voicemail, which they can then watch when they're ready. Bad news for weirdos who think it's okay to send unsolicited naked pictures to people. Good news for those of us who are normal. In iOS 17, there is a feature that uses machine learning to warn you if your phone thinks that you've received what it deems to be sensitive content, and you can toggle it on and off as you wish. I made fun of this one in my reaction video to WWDC. Apple have dropped the famous trigger phrase that we all know and love, and now you just say Siri when you want it to do something. And I made fun of it because I assumed it would mean that my phone would constantly be getting false triggers when I'm shooting videos like this, but it's actually pretty smart, and it does seem to know the difference between you just saying the name Siri and you actually wanting it to do something. When you go to create a new list in Reminders in iOS 17, it will ask you if you want to create a regular list or a shopping list. If you choose shopping, the list is designed to automatically categorize groceries as you add them to the list, which obviously is going to make shopping that little bit easier. You can see here in this example video, I can add all kinds of different groceries, and the app knows how to categorize them out. You can override the category if you wish. I'm hoping that this means that anytime you add that product in the future, it will automatically update. We'll have to wait and see. Also in Reminders in iOS 17, you'll be able to add sections. This, I guess, is useful if you've got a project that's perhaps working across multiple phases or things happening all at once, and you want a clever way of being able to better categorize the reminders out rather than just having one big list or being forced to use subtasks. You can then take that a step further and use a column view rather than the standard list view. So if you tend to work with project charts, this might be a cool new feature for you. Private browsing is going to be more, well, private in iOS 17. When you open up a private browsing tab in Safari, it will be locked, and you'll unlock the feature using Face or Touch ID. If you then lock your phone and then unlock it and open Safari, the private browsing tabs you still have open will be locked again, meaning less chance of you being caught off guard where something you'd previously been browsing privately now shows. Apple are also promising that they've made it harder for websites to use advanced tech to track you when you're private browsing, so whatever you use it for, enjoy the additional privacy. This feature looks like it could be a genuinely useful quality of life improvement. If you tend to use your iPhone for work and leisure, or maybe for school, in Settings in Safari in iOS 17, there's now this feature called Profiles. Here you can create a custom Safari profile, and your phone will automatically separate out your history, any extensions you're using, even down to things like favorites and browser cookies. I think this is going to be huge when it launches later this year. I love the idea of being able to better separate work from home, and this function should make that much, much easier. If you receive an audio message from someone in Messages who is also using iOS 17, your phone will automatically transcribe that message, essentially immediately, and with really impressive accuracy from what I've been able to play around with so far. So you can see here a message that's just been received, and without me even having to hit play on it, I can read the content of what the person sent. You can of course still play the audio message, but if you're perhaps somewhere where you can't listen to the audio or you'd prefer to just read it, this is a great feature. By the way, if you're enjoying the content here, why not consider signing up to my newsletter, The Proper Weekly? I include some tech news from the week, a behind the scenes of what's happening here on the channel, as well as a tip for an item in the Apple ecosystem. The newsletter goes out each Friday, it's free to join, and I'll include a sign up link in the description of this video. From within Messages in iOS 17, you'll be able to check in, which basically means at the touch of a couple of buttons, you can have your phone automatically notify the person at the other end that you've arrived at your destination, but perhaps more importantly, automatically raise the alarm if you fail to arrive at the expected time. It's pretty clever from what I've seen. I'll reserve full judgment until I've been able to try this in a real life situation, but I like what I've seen thus far. Okay, I titled this video 20 awesome features, and I'll be honest, I'm not really a sticky user, but if you are, this feature is pretty awesome. In Messages, you can tap to add a sticker, and what's nice about this is that your phone will look through your photos to find photos that you could pull a sticker from. Once you've done that, you can apply visual effects like putting a border around the sticker or making it look like a comic book. You then just tap to send it or drag it onto a message or whatever it is that you're meant to do with stickers. I love that at the same time as Apple announcing the dawn of spatial computing, they also have finally cracked setting multiple timers on the iPhone. In iOS 17, you'll be able to create a timer as normal, but you can now label your timers, and you can create multiple timers, finally making the iPhone's timer function as useful as the one we've had on Watch for years. What a time to be alive. When your iPhone is plugged into power and not being used and horizontal, it will be able to enter standby mode in iOS 17. This feature turns your iPhone into a kind of mini smart screen displaying all kinds of relevant information which you as a user can customize. It is a bit limited right now. I'm hoping that when iOS 17 properly launches, developers will have had a chance to really make the most of this. Another finally moment coming in iOS 17, widgets are now interactive. So the most obvious example of this is when you've got a reminders widget showing on your home screen, you'll be able to tap to complete a reminder right from the widget, rather than having to head into the app itself or turning lights on or off from a widget instead of having to go into the home app. Yes, we should have had this a long time ago, but I'm still glad it's finally almost here. The weather app had been drastically improved in the previous iOS. This time around there seems to be more information, but the devs have done a good job of tidying everything up and grouping relevant information together. It is a much neater, nicer experience now. You can see that there's even a whole section dedicated to the moon, which is never not going to be interesting. The Translate app doesn't appear to have had much in the way of new features added, but it has had a facelift, as you can see here when we compare with the previous iOS 16. It was always a little bit confusing and cluttered in iOS 16. iOS 17 does appear to have tidied everything up a bit, so if this is an app that you use, hopefully this will be of use to you. Another app that appears to have had a bit of a lick of paint in iOS 17 is the Shortcuts app, although it's much less liberal here, only seeming to impact some of the first-party shortcuts like Books, Clock, and FaceTime. Apple talked about this one in the iOS 17 keynote. Autocorrect has had a tweak in iOS 17, and you'll kind of have to trust me on this one. Overall, my experience of using it this past week is that it all seems way more intuitive and intelligent, but the other nice thing is that when your phone corrects something, you now get a line underneath the corrected word to let you know that it's been corrected, and you can tap on that to quickly teach your phone what you'd like the word to be, rather than having to constantly go back and retype it. If you're using a compatible iPhone, you'll be pleased to know that Visual LookUp has seen some improvements in iOS 17. Here, for example, with a photo of our dog, you can see down at the bottom of the screen a small dog icon indicating what Visual LookUp has identified in the photo. Tapping on that icon gives you the usual Visual LookUp options, but you can also see this kind of halo effect that's created around our dog, showing you specifically which part of the photo has been identified. You then have the usual Visual LookUp options. Interestingly, it never gets her breed correct. She's a working cocker, but it does get this correct in the SimilarWeb images. For a while now, you've been able to tell your iPhone who people are in your photo library, and it uses machine learning to then identify them in pictures, helping to create memories in the Photos app or making searching for photos of specific people easier. Well, this now extends to pets as well. I don't know quite how far-reaching the pets category is going to be. It works with our dog, and I have it on good authority that it works with cats as well. It may or may not work with your red-kneed tarantula. Set your expectation accordingly here. Okay, this is technically feature number 21. I'm including it anyway. You'll be able to share passwords quickly and easily with family in iOS 17. Here in the password section of iOS 17, you can see that we have the ability to create a whole section of passwords that are both visible and usable by the other members of your family. So there you go, that's 21 features that I've been really impressed by in iOS 17. What do you think? What would you use here? Or are there other features that you think should have made the cut? Drop me a comment and let me know. And as ever, if you found this video useful, do please consider leaving me a like and subscribing to my channel for more content like this in the future. See you on the next video.